Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Breakers Creations, and I feel like I'm a little bit low and off-centre today. What's happening here? That way? Yeah, that little bit that way. And maybe if I just bring the camera down a touch. A bit better? Is that alright? Yeah, I think we're okay. Okay, I've been away for a while. I'll talk about that in a minute, but I will do my normal thing here and say hello to everyone. So I'm going to get up here and say hello. Oh, why don't you let me scroll up? Thank you. Hello to Steve from Mac84, who came back from, was it Vintage VCF Midwest a few days ago? And I think he, like a few people who went to that, came back ill because they caught the lurgy, the dreaded nastiness from someone there. Someone going around infecting everyone with disease. Hello to Gibatronics. Hello Patrick Pitts. Hello, welcome to Macintosh. Hello SadMac356. Hello Thomas Armstrong. Hello Will from KMac. I see down here in the chat, you're back home. Welcome back home. So everyone can go in and start buying awesome stuff from Will now. Enzo Fitzhume, hello there. Hello Chris Angelis. Hello Nick from Apples Anonymous. Hello Roger Salter. Hello Chip Akonect. And Leo is here. Hello there. Haven't seen you in a while. First of all, I have been offline for a little while. There have been a number of reasons for that. One was because I saw, my little thing's come undone. One weekend I spent building a new enclosure for my chickens, and I just didn't get time to live stream during that. It was a bit of a bummer. And then, sorry, just got to get this wire here through there. There we go. And then last Friday, as in it's Saturday here, and it's Friday for people in the US. But the Friday before, my mother had a fall and did some fairly significant damage to herself, and has been in hospital since then. And while there is lots of family, they're not all in Sydney. So I have sort of been the main person having to help get everything sorted and visit and bring things to her and keep an eye on her house and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be a very, very long recovery process. She's going to have 6 weeks of no weight bearing, so 6 weeks in a wheelchair, followed by 6 weeks of partial weight bearing. So it is, it's a fairly significant injury, and that has made life very interesting for me in the last week and a bit. I have had to, I haven't been getting that much sleep, and I haven't been getting much work done either. A lot of things that I had planned haven't really been happening, and as you can see, I'm actually having trouble talking at the moment, and that's just because of the sleep deprivation. So if I tend to just wander off on a tangent at any stage, that's why. I'll apologise for it in advance. A few weeks ago, I was doing some work down here on a reloaded board, and I was trying to find a battery holder, and I couldn't find the battery holders. And then the other day, I'm in the house, and I found them. There's like 100 battery holders here, and they were in the house. What good are they in the house? I ask you. So anyhow, I found my battery holders. That's good news. So there are a few things that have changed. What's this doing here? It's a USB-C cable. I wonder if it's live. Duncan Garnett, hello there. Anyone else popped in? No, yeah, it's all good. Colin is here, hello there. How's the new chicken cover roof thing? Well, you're about to see. So, now, just for anyone who likes watching just a live stream of nothing but chickens, I do occasionally do chicken live streams on my other channel, my Bruce Rain channel. So, if anyone wants to go and jump across onto the Bruce Rain channel and subscribe to that, if you want to get notifications of when I'm doing chicken live streams. I usually run them for about 24 hours at a time, and then I sort of switch them off. So anyhow, so let's have a look at the chooks, shall we? There we go. We've got ourselves some chickens here. There's the 3 up there. Let's just go in and have a little bit of zoomy zoom in that. I'll just go in here and bear with me a sec. Bing. Whoopsie. Okay. There we go. The stream is a little bit delayed. When I say a little bit, very delayed. Of course, we're there watching chickens, and that's absolutely not what I'm looking at. There we go. Now we're starting to zoom in. It's really jumpy at the moment. I don't know why that is the case, but I'll see if I can remedy that. It was quite good when I did the... It might just be because I've got so much going on this computer. Where are you going, chicken? Okay, let's just zoom out, shall we? Zoom out. There we go. So the enclosure is going really well. It's saving me an absolute fortune in chicken food because I'm not having to feed pigeons anymore. And of course, one really nice thing about it is I always know where they are. You know, I can find them. It's very handy. So where's my mouse cursor? There it is. There we go. Oh, and we can even turn the sound on for these guys if you want. There we go. It's all windy at the moment, so it probably sounds awful, but you know, I do have audio. So of those chickens there on the left one, the black ones, one of those in particular is an incredibly good flyer, way better flyer than you would expect from a chicken. And so keeping her into an enclosed area was very difficult, which meant she was sort of digging up parts of the garden and eating plants that we didn't want her to eat. So we've got a lot of things with this, and incidentally, this is quite a large enclosure in case anyone's sort of freaking out. It's 3 meters by 8 meters, and so for people using the old money, it's 10 feet by 26 feet. So it's quite a lot of area, and then they've got the little nesting box up at the end, and that's where they can just go in and lay their eggs. And because the weather is warming up here, we are getting quite a lot of eggs at the moment. So. And of course, it also means, you know, when I do my chicken live streams, people can actually see chickens. In the past, I'd have the camera on, and all you could see was pigeons. Now you can see chickens. And I love it when they do their little sort of cleaning routine. Where's my... As you can see, the 3 black ones really don't like to hang out with the blind one. She is a bit ostracized. But that's okay. When I was building this thing, the blind one would just hang out with me the whole time. Come on. Zoom, you thing. You cannot be zoomed in as close as I can go. I don't know what's going on. It's not letting me zoom. It's been stupid. There we go. Now we're zooming. So people will get their chicken fix, and then they'll get bored, and then I will better do some recapping. So, just to recap on the recap, I haven't been live streaming lately because of some sort of family issues. You know, as I say, my mother having a fairly significant injury. She broke her knee. And so she is in hospital at the moment, and I've been having to do a lot of running around and ordering equipment and all that sort of stuff for when she gets returned home. And I will then actually have to move in with her for a little while to look after her until she is, well, the family is sharing that responsibility, and so I will be having to work from home as well. Now, there are a couple of other really important things I need to mention here. So... I'm just having a look here at the chat, make sure I'm missing anything. To everyone who went to VCF Midwest, I hope you all had a really good time. By all accounts, everyone did have a good time. I've had sort of text conversations, not spoken conversations, but text conversations with Sean from Action Retro and Ken from Computer Clan, and of course Steve from Mac 84, of course. And Colin didn't go, I don't think. I don't think Colin was able to go this time around. Jeff Geerling, and all of them seemed to just have an absolutely wonderful time. So I hope anyone that went did enjoy themselves. It does sound like it was a good fun event. I do hope to get there one day. I don't know when it'll be. It'll need to be at a time when I actually have, I don't know, money, so that I can, get onto an airplane and get over to the US. So, but yeah, all sounds fantastic. Now, another thing that has happened recently is I have replaced the camera for my microscope. So this is the camera for my microscope. I bought this one from Amtech, and it is a model. It's an HDMI camera, but it also USB, so it outputs an HDMI signal and a USB signal. I've had some problems with this in the past, specifically with the USB connector, even though after replacing it, still had some problems with it. It also, you can stick an SD card in there and record to the SD card. Now, the problems I've been having with this lately have been that it hasn't been retaining its settings. So every time I switch it on, it reverts back to old settings, and I'm not sure why that's the case or it's something that can be fixed. But what I ended up doing instead, and this has actually been quite good, is I've modified a Logitech C920 webcam. Bit of feed for chickens. Thank you very much, Ryan Joffrey. Hello there. Mark Anning, hello there. Yeah. So yeah, I basically got a Logitech C920. I've also done this to a C922, but I can't use a C922 because I've got a C922 here. And when I run two cameras with exactly the same name, the software that I use for making image adjustments doesn't work properly. It will only adjust one camera, not two. So that's a bit of a bummer. Yes, yeah, Serenity Firefly. Anyone mentioning this shirt? You can actually buy this shirt from QWERTY. There's a link in the description and a discount code. I had this shirt ages ago and then it wore out because I wore it so much, so I bought a fresh one because I don't mind the world knowing that I absolutely love this show. Yeah, so modified the Logitech C920 to turn into a microscope cam, which if I just change my cameras here to maybe the side, I wonder if will we see it? No, just out of view. We can go top, that's it there. That's the top there. It's 3D printed case. The modification involves basically opening the whole thing up and removing the PCB. Then there's the wires for the camera connect on the front of the PCB. And you have to remove that connector from the front and then relocate and do wires on the back. That's a fiddly bit. That's definitely a fiddly bit. Then I built this case and everything like and attached it, and we get the microscope. And so if I then take something to look at, here we go. Let's have a look at a little, here we go, a little chip. I'll have a look at that there. No, I won't look at that. How about, what are we going to look at? There we go. Here's something to look at. An old, really, really old RAM sim. So I can just go here to scope, and now we're looking at the camera. Now when you get to the edges, you get a little bit of chromatic aberration. I don't know if you could see on the far left where you look at the light areas, you can see there's a fringe of blue on the left and a fringe of yellow on the right, and that's usually because of a bit of misalignment, but there's not much more I can do. So yeah, so that's now my new microscope cam. As I say, that's coming in from a Logitech, and one of the advantages I have of that now is I can actually make adjustments to it. So I can adjust the color, I can adjust the white balance, I can adjust the brightness, all that sort of stuff. So it's actually quite an upgrade for me, just from a practicality perspective. You've got the same camera, have you? Will's got this camera. So look, the camera has been good. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like this is a bad camera. It has been good. It has these weak points, specifically the USB port. You know, I mean, that is a definite weak point on the thing. And yeah, some of the things with the sort of, I mean, you got to remember that a lot of these things aren't necessarily designed for YouTubers. These are often designed for people in the scientific community that are using microscopes. So, yeah, so I could have used HDMI out instead of USB out for this, but I've already got two HDMI inputs here. I've got HDMI coming in from this camera on the side, and I've got HDMI coming in from the camera on the top. So, you know, I would have had to have bought another thing. So anyhow, I'm pretty happy with the conversion to the C920. So we'll just see how that goes. You know, today's the first proper test of the thing, so we'll see how that goes. Now, I did mention that I have got a Quadra 840AV board, so I'm going to just grab this and we'll have a look at that. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm a bit of a fan of the Quadra 840AV. I think it's a a pretty cool thing. So let's just go here. There we go. Top view. There we are. There we go. And a nice big anti-static bag. It's a good thing today because today is a little bit windy, and wind is something that can definitely cause a little bit extra static electricity. So you do be careful. So there is the board on my messy desk. I'll hopefully just be able to make enough space for it. He's really loaded this one up. He's gone to memory mastered and he's bought someone did anyway, 32 megabyte sims here. So that's 128 megabytes of RAM in this Quadra 840AV. And I can tell you that from experience, no one ever had that much RAM in them back then because they just simply could not afford it. They were just way too expensive. And then he's got some VRAM on there as well, 256K VRAM, 4 of them. This does have some onboard video, and of course it has a digital signal processor as well, which is there, I think. Is that it? No. There. That one. I'll spin this around here, get a view. That's the digital signal processor there. And this, of course, captures video. You can capture video with this. You got to try out those 16 megabyte sims yet? No, I haven't. No, all of that stuff is still in the box. It's terrible. I mean, things have just been chaotic. Yeah, no, I have not. What am I going to do with them? That's right. I had to decide what I was going to put them in, and I think I'm going to put them in my SE30 that has grayscale. So that SE30 needs a bit of work at the moment. So it works. It works. Don't get me wrong. That's the wrong thing to say. But I think I'm going to put them in that SE30, either that or the Quadra 950, one of the two. I've got plenty of RAM in my Quadra 700. I've got plenty of RAM in my 2CI. You know, the extra RAM only goes to the max that I like. You know what I mean? So the SE30 I've got with the grayscale mod. That one has an old Blue SCSI in it, the old Blue SCSI version 1, and I want to get a Blue SCSI V2 into that with the Wi-Fi, so that I can get that one onto the interwebs, because at the moment the slot is taken up by the grayscale mod, so I can't stick a network card in it. So I'll just use the Wi-Fi built into the Blue SCSI. So yeah. So now I can just see, just straight off the bat here, I can see corrosion. This is going to need to go into the ultrasonic cleaner to get rid of that, but that does in itself present a problem. The Quadra 840AV board was made with very, very thin traces. It's just technology improving and all that sort of stuff. But there's a real weak point. And I'm just going to show you where that is now. I'll just jump across onto the scope. So let me know how we go here with this scope-a-dope. I get this occasional like white flash that comes from it. And I don't know if that's because I haven't put up a heat sink for this. But if we zoom in here, I'm going to have to move this cable. That's just annoying the crap out of me. Oh, I'm going to have to move this down. Bang, bang. There we go. Okay. So, we're just going to have a look at a chip here. Just a fairly, there we go, nondescript chip. Now, you've got these little thin traces, which are here. These are definitely narrower than traces on the earlier boards. So they're definitely stepping this up in terms of its manufacturing. So you've got the trace that goes up here, and then you've got the pad which is there with the solder on it. The point where the mask, so that you can see that horizontal line running across, that's where the mask is. So you've got the mask there, trace underneath the mask, trace coming out of the mask. That little point where the thin trace is there, exposed to the elements, so in other words not under a mask, is very susceptible to corrosion and getting trace breaks. And that is one of the big problems with the Quadra 840AV. These ones don't look too bad, so I'm feeling fairly good. It chimed. Hello, Joe. Yeah, no, not yet. So that is one of the real problems with the 840AV, and one of the reasons why I really don't actually like working on them very much. The reason why I did agree to work on this one is because you guys. I want to be able to provide some entertainment. And let's face it, what can be more entertaining than recapping a Quadra 840AV? Now, someone has already removed the caps from this in, let's say, a less than ideal fashion. I'll show you here. You can see a fair bit of corrosion going on, and you can see there's bits of the capacitor still left on there. So that's a bit of fun. So I think someone just went and clipped them off, which is fine. I mean, if it's their computer, they can do it, but it's not something I do. So that's just my thing. How is everyone, by the way? Has anyone had anything interesting to talk about? My God, look at this corrosion. Look at it. Just look at it. Look at that. Just checking to see if these pins are still connected. It's really bad here. That's really bad. There aren't even... Oh, there's two caps that were near it. There's this guy here. Hello. And there's this guy here. But, geez, that is just... Oh, look at that. We got some wobbles. Oh, and we got some more. We're definitely going to have some pins to stick down here. My good friend Steve can definitely sympathise with what I'm looking at here. Incidentally, if you're wondering why my tweezers have a curve in them, it was because I was using them for something that they're not meant to be used for. So that's normally the way I break things. So, yeah. I sort of feel like this part in particular really should have it clean before I repair any of these pins. But that we're going to have to go through here and check every single pin on this. And there's no evidence. Yes, that is gunge. It is gunge. Is it gunge? Is it gunge? Scunge was the wet stuff and gunge was the dry stuff. And punge was the smelly stuff. Yep. That's it. Have to remember all these things, seeing as I made them all up. I can't be going around making up words and then forgetting the definitions of them. It'll make me look a fool. Now, some of the other areas that are prone to issues are around these... is that a trace break? These VRAM? No, that's just grit. That don't look too bad. Oh, the drags are on today. I just heard the sound of a top fuel drag car. The drag race track is quite a way away from me, but when the wind is flowing in the right direction, I can hear the top fuelers go off. Felt like Muddy Waters on Family Guy. Ah! Dun, 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 dun. Ah! So I'm going to have to see if I can figure out why this screen flickers like that. I assume you're seeing it as well, and it's not just happening to me. That every now and again, just like a bit of a flicker happens on the microscope vision. I don't know if that's related to the USB connection or my shoddy soldering of the wires onto it, or something else. So yeah, just yeah, you are seeing it. Okay, fair enough. Well, hopefully it's not so annoying that it makes people switch off. But yeah, I will try and rectify that before my next live stream. Now, because someone has already taken these caps off, I don't have to take the caps off, but I do need to clean the pads because they are absolutely shocking. I think what I'll do is I'll take all of the things off the board, like the VRAM and the RAM and the battery cover, and I'll put them into a little baggie here, and we will begin some work on the board. I didn't see it, but I wasn't paying attention. Yep. That's pretty much every answer I gave when I was in school. Now, I got a little care package from K-Koba the other day. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not going to do it on a live stream. I'm actually going to do a proper video about it. A pre-recorded video. So first of all, he sent me another kit of the paddles because I really want to put together like a how-to video for building those paddles for the Apple IIe because I just think they're a really, really cool thing. Oh, wow. Look at the gunk. These VRAM sims are not new. And he also sent me this kit, which I'm not even sure if he's going to sell. I think he's concerned that people may not feel it's accurate enough, but I'll be the judge of that. And that is a little joystick. And I'm so looking forward to getting that built and trying it out because I haven't had a joystick on an Apple II since, I guess it would be probably the 90s sometime. Yeah. I think that's probably where it would be. And I'm really looking forward to having a go on the joystick. So, as I say, he's sort of beating himself up a little bit about its level of accuracy. I think it's the accuracy of returning into the center. So the way a joystick works is it's a little potentiometer or a little variable resistor, and you get a different measurement based on whether you're in one axis or the other. So let's imagine we're just looking at the x-axis, and so you go across to the left, and that'll be say 0 resistance, and then you go across to the right, and it'll go 100 resistance. That's not what it is, but let's imagine it is, and that then sends a measurement back to the computer of a value between 0 and 255, right? So 0 all the way over to the left, 255 all the way over to the right. In the middle, it should be 128. That's technically where it should be. It should be exactly 128. But because of the way these joysticks work, you'll never get them exactly 128 in the center. It might be 125 or 135 or something like that. I don't know. We'll see what it is because that's something we can measure. But when the joystick springs back into the center, it's very unlikely that it'll spring back to dead center. Now, if that is important with a game you're playing or whatever purpose you're applying it to, then a joystick like that is going to present you with a problem because it does not return back to exactly 128. But a lot of games that doesn't really matter, in particular if you're playing something like Pac-Man where you wanted to go left and right and up and down. It only needs to be roughly in the middle for it to know that you're not moving. And then you go to the left and say, okay, go down the left, go to the right, and then don't move. So, yeah, not too much. Kay does have the best stuff, and that is one of the reasons why I actually want to do a pre-recorded video, because I don't want to just... I'm going to build these things, but I don't want to just build these things. I also want to feature some of the other stuff he's got, because when he comes up with something cool and new, he sends it to me to try out for a few reasons. One, he knows I love building kits, so when he just sends me the stuff, he knows I'm going to build it. The other is... if there are any problems, I'm always happy to provide him with feedback and sort of offer suggestions and all that sort of stuff. I generally don't have to do that very much, but I mean, even when it came down to the 4 megabyte sims, this little kit that you can buy from him where you get a bunch of these little 4 megabyte sims. Satanic Mac Club, 4 megabyte. When it comes to those, he had a list of some of the chips that would work on these, and I had a whole bunch of chips here that he hadn't tested, and I was able to put them on these and test them out and say, works. Okay, just no worries. It's just my bank telling me I don't have money. Thank you, I know that. And so, yeah, definitely looking forward to doing a video on that, so that'll be something to look out for. Another thing that I've done, like missing a ground plane. The missing ground plane came from Blue Scuzzy. Do you remember that? Does anyone remember that? I've never had a missing ground plane from K, but I did have a missing ground plane for Blue Scuzzy. So this is the Blue Scuzzy version 1. And when I got hold of Eric was building the thing, and then he made a change, and he doesn't know how, but at some stage during that change, he managed to accidentally delete the entire ground plane. And so I got the PCBs done from that Gerber, and when I got them back, they didn't work because they weren't powering up. Now, there were bodge wires you could do to go in and run the ground all the way around the thing, which I did. I think some other people might have done it as well. I think Tom Barber might have done it. And, it was a bit of fun to create this Blue Scuzzy with all these bodge wires. But I remember that happening with Blue Scuzzy. So, Duncan, hello there. It is your board. There should be 2 small... Yes, I see them up in the corner here. I've got those ones. They are 10 microfarad, 16 volt. So that's all good. I'll whip those off as well. I'll tell you what, if you've only just turned up, Duncan, I've got something to show you because you're going to love this. So this is a chip on the board. This is at location. I love the way it's got numbers on this. That's so cool from a diagnostic perspective. This is U32, I believe. And we've got a little bit of corrosion here. And that corrosion has got to the point where some of these little pin legs are actually not making contact with the pads. So that is definitely going to have to be something that gets fixed on these. So, but I wouldn't attempt to do that until I get rid of all the corrosion. So I'm going to do the recapping first, then I'm going to clean it, and then I go and have a look at those. So, fleur. Why are you saying fleur, Joe? Do you want me to get the thermal camera, or are you answering someone's question? Oh, hi Bruce, off topic. I'm going to finally buy an IR camera. Any suggestions? Beachside Tech. Hello there, Beachside Tech. Don't buy a fleur. And I'll give you a couple of reasons why you shouldn't buy a fleur. Or FLIR. While they generally regard themselves as the ultimate in thermal cameras, there are a few problems. First of all, they are massively overpriced for what they're producing. Massively overpriced. They have created their own price scale that is not competitive, and so don't buy them. The second reason is that in the US there are export restrictions on thermal cameras because they're considered to be like something that could be potentially dangerous in the hands of an overseas company. So, like, for example, they might be worried that someone in, I don't know, North Korea is going to get hold of this thermal imaging technology and give them, say, like a military advantage. Now, because of that, it means that all consumer-level thermal cameras in the US that are destined for export are restricted to a lower frame rate. I actually covered this in one of my review videos for a thermal camera. So they're actually restricted to a frame rate no more than 8 frames per second, I think, if I remember right. I think it's 8 or 9 frames per second. So if you're going to buy a FLIR, a consumer-level FLIR, you're going to get something that only provides around about 9 frames per second. Now, the hope is that at some stage in the future they're going to change this ruling because it's just stupid. It's a ridiculous restriction because basically companies in other countries are producing ones with a faster frame rate. So in other words, you can buy a thermal camera from China that will be better than a thermal camera you buy from the US. So it seems that this restriction now is a little bit out of date, and hopefully they do update it, and so it gives those companies like FLIR and the other one, there's another US thermal imaging company, I can't remember the name of them, but it'll give those companies the ability to then become competitive again, because at the moment they're restricted from being competitive. So that sort of sucks. So the end of the story is, that's a very lengthy one. It depends on the sort of thermal camera that you want. If you're looking to get a handheld one like this, which is very, very convenient, I appreciate that. You switch it on, it's got the screen. When you're wanting to just check stuff randomly, these are the quickest and easiest to go for. You just switch it on, you wait for them to fire up. They usually take about 15 seconds to give you an image. That's normal. Thermal cameras are standard, have a warm-up time. And then away you go. You start checking your thermal stuff. And that can be really, really convenient with these. Where one like this falls down a little bit is in its video capture. It does it in a really weird file format. But that might be fixed in a future revision of this, I'm not sure. Then, of course, the other thing is that Kai Wheats sell one as well, which I reviewed. And Kai Wheats have actually just brought out an upgrade of that one. And I've had a look, and it looks like it does some pretty snazzy stuff. So I'm going to actually see if I can get one of those from them and do a review on that as well. Just if anyone is wondering why thermal cameras are so expensive, one of the reasons is that they can't use glass on the lenses. Because anyone who's ever used a thermal camera before knows that, what is it, infrared? It's infrared? Infrared light doesn't pass through glass. So if you get a thermal camera and you stick a glass lens on it, you won't see anything. So they have to use these very special sort of minerals or whatever I did know what it was, but I can't remember anymore for the lenses, and so that's one of the reasons why they're expensive. But if you're wanting one like this, a handheld one, I can definitely recommend this Vevor one. It is, I did a review on it, so you can always check that out on my channel. If you look in the product reviews, you find a review of this, and I've been extremely happy with this. Then if you're looking for one that piggybacks on the phone, which can also be very convenient. Two reasons it's convenient is, number one, if you get the right one, not a Fleur don't do this, but if you get the right one, it will actually use the power from your phone. So it means your little infrared camera doesn't need to have its own battery or be charged or anything like that. It just draws the power from the phone. The other advantage for these is because they're attached to the phone, the software for the thermal camera is on the phone and can be updated and can have all sorts of enhancements and improvements. And the one that I'm about to show you here, it has this really quite nifty software where you can do things like draw a box and just look at the temperature inside that box. Or you can draw a line and just see the temperature across that line. And you could do multiple lines and boxes and stuff, so you can then be getting readings just in those areas. So if you're setting a camera up and you're wanting to monitor a particular area, you can just draw a little box to say, I only want to see the temperature in this area. So, and then of course the other thing is the size. And so this is the one, and again, I did a review of this one as well. And this is called an InfiRay P2 Pro. And I'll just change over here to the top view so I can show you this. This is the InfiRay P2 Pro here. And I really rate this. I mean, apart from the fact it's extremely small, I like the software that it uses. You can take video from it, store it on your phone. You can take still images from it, store it on your phone. You know, you can work in landscape or portrait. It's a great little camera, and it even comes with a macro lens, so you can magnet that on there, so you can go in and be looking at stuff really, really close if you want to, if you're doing fine electronics stuff. And then in here, of course, I've got an air tag in this container because I lose this thermal camera all the time. So I've got an air tag in here so I can find out where it is and ping it. So that's a very long answer to a very short question. But the short answer is, if you're looking for a handheld one, I can definitely. I haven't reviewed the new Kai Wheat's one yet, so I hesitate to recommend it. It might be brilliant, but I haven't used it yet. The specs look great, but I haven't had a chance to get my hands on it, so I can't recommend that as yet. But in terms of these handheld ones, this Vevor one, this comes in two different flavors. One flavor does only infrared. The other flavor, this one here, does infrared and still image. And visible light, and you can overlay them if you want. But check out the reviews for these on my channel if you're looking to buy. And then it just comes down to, you prefer handheld? Cool, no worries. Well, as I say, you can do a lot worse than getting one of these. These are pretty reasonably priced too. So that's one of the things I like about them. They've got a SD card you can put in there for storage. So you can either transfer the images across via USB, or you can just take the SD card out, and then you've got USB-C connected there. These have a battery in them that lasts an eternity. I charge this thing. I don't use it that much, but I charge this thing like once every 6 months. I mean, the battery just lasts for eons. So yeah. Oh, and of course the other thing, this one has an adjustment. What do you call it? Tripod screw there. So if you need to mount it permanently somewhere, you can attach it onto the top of a tripod. So that's all the thermal camera talks. Sorry about that if for anyone who's not interested in thermal cameras, but I am. So I tend to go on about them a bit. Oopsie. You grabbed a 2C53T after your review, and I'm really stoked. Excellent. Very happy to hear that, Theo. I have to admit, I love it too. I've been using it pretty much as my main multimeter these days. Sometimes I jump across to another one. And of course, just having that oscilloscope that I could just go in and check a clock speed. I mean, I was using that just recently when I was testing something. It's like I was having some problems with it. Am I getting a clock signal? Boom, bang, yep, clock signal's perfect. Move on to the next thing. It's just so quick and easy. I've got a big oscilloscope up there, great big one, fancy one, expensive one. And it does a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't use that stuff much. Just what this does is fine. And of course, the other thing, the reason I love this, I do them in my live streams when I switch it on. There's my logo on it. So, all right. So just going to check Do, 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 do. Somehow lost the Finercy part of my text. It got sucked up into the ether. It looks like a ROM sim socket too. Which board? This board? Are you saying this board or are you talking about a different board? KMac, you were saying, looks like a ROM sim socket can be added to this board and use a modified ROM. Oh, there, yes, right there. No, you're exactly right. You can indeed. And I think there's a spot for the jumper somewhere as well. To switch between the two. I'm sure I've seen it here somewhere. I've spent a lot of time staring at these boards. So yeah, yeah, I'm sure you can stick a different ROM in here. I've never done it, but I'm sure you can. I love that I can inject a waveform via the signal generator and then trace it with the same unit. Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? This is one of the questions that someone actually asked me on my review. It's like, can you run the two at the same time? I was like, sure can. Have a look at the video. You'll see me do it. Ready. Oh, yeah, sorry, the screen just went funny then because it always does that when I turn my hot air station on. Is my foot pedal working today? Nope. Foot pedal's not working today. It's OBS that does it. It's not the fault of the foot pedal. Oh, maybe it is the fault of the foot pedal. Maybe the software's not running. I think the software's not running. Okay, what's this? This one is... what is this software called? What's this thing called? Elgato. There we go. Elgato. ELGATO. Stream Deck. Stream Deck, they call it. Is it running? Elgato Stream Deck? I mean, I clicked on it. Oh, here it goes. There we go. Thank you, Stream Deck. Now, let's see. Is it still running? No. Closing the window closed it. Or did it? Is it still running in the background? Yeah, it's still running in the background. Let's try it. Yay! Look at that. Magical. I do not like the look of these traces. Look at all those black spots. I don't believe that these will actually be broken, but that's all corrosion. There. Which is not good. Not good at all. No. Right, so let's... first thing I'm going to do is take off these pads. So what you... pins, sorry. What you can see here is these caps have been removed either with a twist and pull method or with some clippers, and that's left the pins behind. So we've got the pads and the pins sitting on top, so we're going to have to take those off first. I'm going to get some flux for that. Because I'm just going to be hitting this with hot air, probably doesn't matter which flux I use. I love this flux, by the way. I mentioned this, I think, in one of my live streams. V4. I love it. I think it's better than the V5 in my opinion. So anyhow, let's just get some flux under here. This one's sort of crystallizing a little bit. Still works. I've got no issue with that. I'd rather use a hardware HDMI switcher console. The problem is that not all of my input sources are HDMI. The camera we're looking at the moment is actually USB. Whoopsie. Might have to brighten this camera up a little bit because we're dealing with this, whoopsie. We're dealing with this very dark board. So we'll just see how we go there. And we've got some nice shiny solder under there, so I think we will be able to clean these pads up quite nicely. I do have a recapping guide for the Quadra 840AV on my website. I had hoped to have a video out by now, but as I mentioned before, with my mother in hospital, and me being the one who's having to do a lot of the running around, I haven't really had a chance to get into video production mode. Okay. Alright, that looks pretty good. Just need to do a little snippety snoop. So my face cam, the one that points at my head, my noggin, that is a USB camera. And the one that is connected to the microscope is a USB camera. The one up the top here is HDMI, the one on the side here is HDMI. Alright, that's clean. I need to worry not anymore about that one. Worry yourself not. Right, I'm going to have to try and make some space around here, because I'll tell you what, I'm a little bit restricted because of the mess. I had planned to come down here and actually clean the whole place, but, yeah, life got in the way. I could probably just take these off with a soldering iron, not even worrying about the hot air station, but I don't know. I quite like it because it's crusty. Hasn't flashed in a while, that's good. Whoopsie. There, it just flashed. Sort. I got this beginner's guide to soldering video on YouTube that gets a lot of views. And I had someone post a comment the other day, and I had to sympathise with this guy, but there's only so much I can do. But he's just like, you know, I feel like I'm being punked every time I try and solder. I can't get it to stick to anything, and nothing ever works the way it works in these videos. You know, why am I having so much trouble? And I'm sort of thinking, well, you know, I've tried to explain all of the possible causes for that in my video series, both in part 1 and in part 2. So there's sort of, I'm not really sure much else of what to do other than providing like a one-on-one training type session. Now there is an event coming up. I'll get the date so that I can talk about it. But there is an event coming up with here in Australia, and it's called Macageddon. And I have been asked to participate, and I'm looking forward to it. It's designed to raise funds for the Australian Computer Museum Society, which is an organisation dedicated to, you know, sort of cataloguing and restoring vintage computer equipment to make sure it's available for future generations to see. And the event is, they basically got hold of 8 Macintosh SE30s in different states of disrepair, and people have an opportunity to buy one of these SE30s, then come in for this event and attempt to repair it, and I will be there to help people out and probably do some of the repairs myself, do some of the, if there's any trace repairs, I'll probably do them and just show people how they work and all that. So, yeah, just sort of putting it out there, this event, and I'm going to be live streaming it. So just letting you know that that event is going to be live streamed. So I'll be making an announcement on my socials, so if people want to watch it. But it's going to be live streamed over a fairly long period of time, because you know, it's going to be a whole day event, something like that. But yeah, the whole idea of it is to give people an opportunity to own an SE30 for not too much money for people who want to get one. I mean, there's a cost involved, but this is a charity event. All of the capacitors and equipment will be supplied for people doing the work. Yeah, I think it should be a lot of fun to be part of. Get to hang out with some nerds. And of course, people get to meet the super famous me as well. Incidentally, if anyone does see an ad for this Macageddon, it refers to me as a YouTube sensation, and I just wanted to let it be known that I did not write that. I mean, I have a YouTube channel, but I don't really consider myself a sensation. Planning to fly up for it will be a fun day. I'm certainly hoping it will be a fun day. So I'll be bringing along a microscope, and I'll probably bring my soldering station as well, mainly because I like to use my soldering station. Got to have standards. I'll bring my stuff for trace repairs as well. Leaded solder is the best solder. Look, we all know the risks of using lead. We've known that for a very long time. My recommendation would be to, if you are using lead, don't do what I'm doing, and make sure you're using some nitrile gloves while you're working. I'm just going to put my hands in those now. These are the small ones. I have so much trouble getting me fat hands into these, but I'm doing it. So, and make sure you don't, if you're touching the lead with your hand, make sure you don't touch your eyes or mouth or anything. Treat it like there's basically poison on your hands. Fume extractor is probably more important for the flux than it is from the lead. I don't think everything that I have been told, and I am not a scientist, but everything I've been told is that you're not really going to be affected by fumes from lead from soldering. It's not hot enough. And yes, make sure you wash your hands afterwards. That's a really, really important thing. If you're working with solder, make sure you wash your hands afterwards. But I tend to agree that leaded solder is much, much easier to work with. I find it more predictable. I do have lead-free solder. I can use it if I want to, but I find, as I say, I get more predictable results. The solder behaves the way I want it to behave, or way I expect it to behave when I'm working with leaded solder. Look at the way the UV mask just comes off this so easily. It's tinned, so it's all good. I'm curious to see what you can learn these days. Okay, greeting from Munich, Germany. Hello there. After recap about 840AV, according to Bruce's guide, greatly done, photo quality, thank you. Curious to see what you can learn these days. Indeed, what can you learn these days? I'm actually really looking forward to doing this. Well, I am doing it. I'm enjoying doing this because I actually haven't done just like a straightforward recap like this in a while. Oh, wow, look at this. I feel like this board's going to need quite a bit of work. And look at it. Will you look at it? Just look at it. See, I'm just going to do a quick little test here of continuity, but I've got a sneaking suspicion. Just do that now. It's going to turn on the old multimeter. And we'll go to continuity for the beepity beep beep. Right, and I'm just going to see if I'm getting continuity from here to here. There's so much corrosion on this, I can't even tell if I'm making contact with metal or not. Okay, that's metal. There to there. Yep, we've got continuity, so that is a good sign. Alright, alright. There we go. That's where I need to be. Hello, Captain Bucko. Did I say hello to Bird Book? I don't think I did. Hello. Hello. Oh, wow. What's going on in there? Sorry, I just saw something out of the corner of my eye. I need to go and observe. Some gunk. I thought it was shiny. I thought it might have been metal. But this, can you see there's something in between those two pins there? Just here. I thought it was metal, but it was just something shiny. This really wants to be cleaned. Right, hot air can go away. The weather is starting to warm up in this part of the world, so I'm in my happy place. I'm not a huge fan of cold weather. So as it starts to warm up, you see me become a happier person. Chickens are happier as well. They lay more eggs when it warms up. The fact that this UV mask comes off so easily, you can see just by rubbing it there with the what do you call that thing? The wick. There we go. By rubbing it with the wick, I've exposed the copper there, and it's been tinned. But that could work in our favour, because later on we're definitely going to need to go in and clean up some of the corroded ones. So the fact that the UV mask comes off quite easily will probably make that process of retinning a little bit easier. First day of autumn starts on Monday here in the US. It's getting a bit cooler over here. Yeah, so we're already in spring. So spring over here starts on the 1st of September. So we transition from winter into spring. But the thing is, the spring happens quite early here. That's just how it is here in Sydney. You know, I mean, at the moment, you know, everything's blooming, and you know, birds are laying eggs and all that sort of stuff. We actually have these seasonal kind of migratory birds. The two main ones in this area, there's the coel, and the other one is the channel-billed cuckoo. And so they head north during the cold weather, and then they come down here in spring, and they're here. So we know it's spring when they're here. We do not get snow here. It does not snow in Sydney, ever. Okay. Right, so we're getting through these for cleaning. There is a little pocket up near the power connector of, I think, 4 of them in a row. And so that'll be one to look forward to. We'll make it our best one yet. It does get very, very, very hot here in Sydney, and it is predicted to get hotter. Something to look forward to. Anyone watched any good movies or TV series or anything? Stop wobbling. Always interested to see if people have watched stuff they thought is cool. I'm hearing mixed stuff about Alien Earth. I'm not sure. I haven't been very happy with the way they've tried to expand on the Alien universe. The last Alien movie that came out I thought was a pile of poop. Had one good actor in it though. But there was so much stupidness in it that I really struggled with it. Rewatched The Sting, my goodness me. Did you watch that? Because doesn't that have... Has that got Robert Redford in it? I can't remember. That's a long time ago. Boy. I haven't seen that in literally decades. "3 Days of the Condor," okay. Watched the original Naked Gun recently, yeah. That's another one I haven't seen since it came out. Yeah, see, 1973. That's I would not have seen that when it came out. That's something I probably would have ended up watching on TV. I'm going to have to get my recapping guide out here, because when the caps have been removed, I find it a little bit harder to see where they are supposed to be. Yes, I knew Paul Newman was in it, but the reason why I mentioned Redford is because he passed away. Most sad. Most sad. Micro Hobbyist, hello there. You don't have to call me Brankus, you can call me Bruce if you want. I hate it when you get a phone call from someone, like a tech support or something like that, or, I don't know, internet service provider or something, and of course one of the things that they're all told to do now is make sure that you're referring to people by the name that they want to be referred by. So they say, is it okay if I call you Bruce? And I'm sort of just like, just get on with it. You can call me anything you like. You can call me Jay. Just don't call me Dude. Hey, dude.com. Whatever happened to Scatterbrain? I love that album. That was a great album that Dude Don't Call Me Dude on it. And they did a few. There was two. There was Scamboogery and there was another one. And they did covers of classical songs on them. And they were just brilliant. Oh, it was an old 70s reference. I was taking it from the song by Scatterbrain called "Hey Dude, Don't Call Me Dude," because he actually says that. You can call me Ray, you can call me Jay. Don't call me Dude. Hey Dude, don't call me Dude. What does Brankus mean? That's a very good question. So when I first set up a business, not doing this, I set up a business, my web development business, I was trying to come up with a name. And there were two things that I wanted for it. First of all, I wanted to have the both .com.au and .com available, the domain name. So that was one very important thing. All the clever names you come up with are all been taken. So I wanted that to be available. But I also wanted to start with BR, because that's Bruce, and it's also my initials, BR, Bruce Rain. So I wanted the business to start with BR. And then I just started looking around at sort of words that I could possibly use. And Brankus is actually from the books of Greek mythology. and it was someone who had the gift of foresight. And I thought, well, he was a demigod, so he was like half god, half human. And I was sort of like, oh, well, we're talking about technology, so having the gift of foresight, that might be fairly apt for what I'm doing. So I just went with that name. As it turns out, it was the stupidest name to pick because so many people mispronounce it. I should have got something that is easier to pronounce. I just assumed, yeah, everyone will know how to pronounce Branchus. But of course, everywhere you go, it's like Branchus. So that was a really, really dumb idea, but, I have a lot of those. I'm about to show you guys another one of my dumb ideas in a moment. I think some of you will maybe like it, but it's still a dumb idea. I have set up a web server in my house, and it is currently running on a Macintosh LC3 using Microsoft's Personal Web Server version 4. And I want to show you guys the little website I've set up on it. Well, it's funny you say that. The torch is not working, mate. Australia is obviously very well known for using the word mate. But although you can definitely use mate as a term of endearment, or someone, this is my mate, mate is also used as an insult. Like, for instance, there's the classic saying that if, let's say you're sitting in a pub somewhere and someone walks in and the person you're with doesn't like that person that just walked in, they'll say something like, oh, mate, he's your mate. So, what is its personal web server? So, what the heck is Microsoft Personal Web Server? Maybe I'm too young for that one. You could well be. So, this came out, well, the one that I'm using is included with the installer for Internet Explorer 4 for the Macintosh. So, when you get the Internet Explorer 4 and you go to install it, one of the options there is Personal Web Server. And it has some very, very basic ASP interpreting stuff in there. You can bring up the date and time. You can have counters and things like that. You can have forms, but it's not tied into a database as such. But you can tie it into some text files. So, favorite deity is Dionysus. What I just said, Dionysus. Yes, it's very slow, but you'll see how slow in a minute. Captain Bucko, I love what you've done there. I hope you had a camera going. I love what you did there, but I think it would be just such a terrible waste if you didn't film it. Zappy Zappy Pow. Just got a Performer 475 today. It turns on, boots and chimes, then sad chimes. Is it just in need of a recap or anything more? Well, here's what I would say, Mike. Number one, no matter what you do from the perspective of diagnostics, it will need recapping. You can be fairly certain that those caps are either leaking, at the very least they're not fully up to spec. So it could be plenty of other things, but there's no point going too far down a diagnostic path until it has been recapped. And recapping may just fix it. But another problem that I have found with the 475, which is also the Quadra 605, is they do sometimes have RAM failures on the onboard RAM. So the 475 605 has got, I think, 4 megabytes of RAM on board. Think that's right. And it's the same with, I think, the 575 is prone to this as well. You can end up with one of the onboard RAM chips failing, and then it's just a matter of finding out which one it is and replacing it, which is a bit of a bugger of a job. So Dana is here. Hello there, Dana. Have you been getting a bit of FNT happening. Yep, so I was just checking the chat. So, alright, so this is the other little capacitor here. I'm not having to worry about what capacitors I'm removing because I do have a guide for this one, so I don't have to memorize it or anything. Oh, you slept through it. Oh, poor Dana's been sick. So Dana's one of the people that went to VCF Midwest and came back and brought some illness home with him from one of the people that was at the event. We don't know who the culprit is, but poor Dana has been quite unwell, and I can sympathise. I had the flu earlier this year, and it was one of the worst illnesses I have had, probably in my lifetime. Viral illnesses in my lifetime. It's about the sickest I've ever been. I was hallucinating and everything. Okay. Got some really crunchy corrosion on this one. I'm hopeful with this. So where the problem lies with these Quadra 840AVs is in the traces, damage to the traces. And that can sometimes be really hard to nail down, to find where the problem is. As long as we don't have trace damage, the problems I have seen are all fairly straightforward to repair. I basically let Duncan know with this that I don't really have the option to go down a lengthy diagnostics path with this. I'm happy to do the work. I'm happy to repair what I can see. But if I repair the stuff that I can see is a problem and it still doesn't work, there's only so much time that I could spend on it. It's just the way it is with my time at the moment. Eating again, that's good to hear. Waiting on a fish and chips platter to be delivered soon. Nice. What sort of fish? It's not going to be fried, I hope, because that'd be a bit soggy by the time I got there, I'd imagine. Most 475 I had to fix was a RAM chip issue. See, he's just backing up what I was saying before. So I'm not the only one that goes around saying things that with RAM problems. So, yeah. Black Benny, Ram a lamb. Right, time to get rid of these ones here. We've got 4 in a row. We'll see them here there. I'll move this up a bit so it doesn't fall. So just letting everyone know who wasn't present at the beginning, I am now using a different camera for my microscope. It does seem to have a bit of a flicker, which I'm hoping I can sort out. But it is now a Logitech C920 that has been adapted to fit to my microscope. One of the advantages I have about doing this, by doing this, is that I can make adjustments to the camera. I can change the brightness, contrast, white balance, all the things. I haven't had breakfast today, and it is now 12:15. So I'm not. I don't mind telling you, I'm a little bit on the hungry side. I have no idea what I'm going to have, but the longer I leave it, the hungrier I get, the more likely it's going to be something that's bad for me. Something like takeaway food type stuff with trans fats. Yep. Recap. And if it doesn't go away, onboard RAM needs to be swapped. Yep, there you go. That is the most likely thing with that computer. And I think, if I remember rightly, the 475... So the 475 is one of the ones that needs to have VRAM connected. I can't remember. You've got to have VRAM in there for it to work. I think it'll chime without VRAM, but I don't think you get a picture. I'm not 100% certain. I could be wrong with the 475. Certainly the case with some of the earlier LCs. There's my, I need my ASM flux for this because I need it to hang around. Some of these fluxes burn away a little bit too quickly. These ones are really cruddy, aren't they? They're all hanging out together, messing each other up. Need VRAM and battery. There you go. I'm actually working on a video at the moment with a 475 in it, Quadra 475. It's going to be a fun video when I finally get around to finishing it. I quite like the 475, I will say. Technically it's a Quadra 605, but I have now changed its identity from a 605 to a 475 by the way of the little jumper on the board. So there's a little jumper on the board which changed the Gestalt ID of the computer. And so it stops being a 605 and starts being a 475. There are reasons why I did that, and those reasons will become clear in the video that I produce about it. Script has been written for the video. Some footage has been footaged. And now I just need to do more footage. Really don't like the look of this. Excuse me. Just holding back a burp there. I may end up having to run a wire, but I really do not like the look of this little hole here. It's a little veer going through there to the other side, and it just does not look very nice to me. I'll give it a bit of a scrapey scrape and see how it goes. Oh wow, excellent. The clock speed upgrade still works. That's fantastic. So I am doing the same with mine in this video. And again, there's a very good reason why I'm doing that clock speed upgrade. And that will become clear in the vid. Okay, well, it's copper there. I don't know if it goes through to the other side. I hope it does, but not sure. I'll probably have to test that with a continuity meter. Damn, this is hard to do so close up. Zoom out a little bit. Oops, wrong way. (10:19) in New York. I'm actually pretty good with knowing what time it is in New York because most of the people I chat to in the US are actually Eastern time. So where it is, where we are right now, I know it's. I have to just count forward 10 hours and go back one day. So it's midday here, so it's 12:20. So I know I add 10 hours onto that, which is 10:20, and then take a day away. So it's 10:20 at night on Friday. There are 4 RAM slots in the 475. No, there aren't. I don't think there is. 475, that's the Performer is just the LC, isn't it? It's just the LC with a different name. 475 only has 1 RAM slot from memory and some VRAM slots. Yeah, I'm Dana's friend from the future. This is correct. Dana's my friend from the past. But I'm always helpful. I'm always telling him what the future holds. Each day, I sort of say, hey, no, just stay in bed today. It's a rotten day today. Oh, just my knee. When I'm sitting at this table and my knees are sort of curled up under my legs there, they get a little bit sore after a while. Geez, there are a lot of caps on this thing. Who designed this? Can I get this off without the hot air? That's a big affirmative. So it uses the, 72 pin RAM? Is that it? 72 pin? Something like that. Something like that. And so you sort of, let's imagine, I think you can put a 32 in there. I think you might be able to do more, but 32 is the most it was originally designed to have. So 32 with the 4 on board gives you 36, so you can take that up to 36 megs of RAM. And I'm going to be completely honest here right now. On that particular computer, I'm not sure why you would ever need more than 36. It's not like a computer you're going to sit down there and do video editing or photoshopping or something like that on. I personally think that having a 32 in there, you'd be able to do, all the good things on a 475 or a 605. Oh my goodness. What on earth? Why is Jay not here? I cannot believe that. Can't believe that. There better be a good excuse, I'll tell you. Yeah. Oh, my mother's in hospital and I'm still here. Come on. I think this might be the last cap to clean. I think. Clean off the gunk. Clean off the gunk. Goodbye gunk. Cleaning gunk. I'm turning it into, it's a Mac 84 stream now. I'm doing the singing. The singing while I'm working. I'm sure we've all been lucky enough to hear Steve from Mac 84 give us a few tunes while he's working on a computer, particularly an 840AV. He's done some very long live streams involving a Quadra 840AV. I think one of the longest ones he ever did was 8 hours. Yeah. So I also used an 840AV at the job that I had, and there's a little bit of a story with this. And some people have probably heard it before, so I'll try and tell it fairly quickly. But the company that I work for, which is a pre-press company at the time, we did a big old upgrade of computers, and we got a whole bunch of new Macs. Very soon after we took delivery of them, the place got robbed, and a whole chunk of them got stolen. And we do have wondered often if someone got tipped off that a whole bunch of new computer equipment was being delivered there. But they stole a bunch of brand new equipment, including a Quadra 800. And there might have even been a 900, and I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly. I don't remember all of the details. This is a very long time ago, as I'm sure you can appreciate. So they all got robbed. Now, everything was insured, so we ended up getting replacements. But by the time that all went through, the 840AV had come out. So instead of us having a Quadra 800, we now had a Quadra 840AV. Now, for us, it was never about the video capture. We never did that. For us, it was just about the CPU speed. The 840AV, fastest 68040 that Apple made, and so we bought it. And not to mention, it was a replacement for the 800. So when we went to the insurance company to get new computers, we're like, well, the Quadra 800 has been stolen. We need a replacement for that. And it was like, okay, well, the closest thing to it now is the 840AVs, so we got the 840AV. So, was it an inside job? A very small company. We did have a slightly shady guy working there at the time, so I'm not going to accuse that person because I don't know. I don't know if it's something that they would do. I don't know if that's the extent of what I had. I did observe that person shoplifting once, so it does say something of their character. Yeah, so, but as I say, I'm not, I can't be certain. And then, of course, you've got to remember when you have stuff like that, you can have delivery drivers. Delivery drivers could have tipped off a friend or something like that. And basically what happened is in the building that we were in, it was one of those sorts of buildings that had those kind of push-up panels in the ceiling. So it's all like crisscross, and then you just push up these panels to get up. And the way the building was designed, it was all a big open area, and all the walls were basically just kind of, the walls just wherever to separate the different offices. And the people came in and they pushed the panels up, climbed over the front door to get in, so over the wall. I mean, it was remarkably easy. When I found out how they'd done it, I'm sort of thinking, this place is not secure at all. So they got into the building, and that wasn't too hard to do. The building is supposed to be locked at night, but obviously it didn't. Or maybe someone camped out in the bathrooms. Someone could have actually been there in the bathrooms, waited until dark, and then gone in and done it. So they pushed the panels up, climbed over the wall, and then just fed all the computers back out. And it had a back entrance to the place, so they could have actually, I guess, unloaded it to a car out the back somewhere, something like that. So the 840AV is a hot rod, relatively speaking. Yeah, so you have to put this into context. And the context is that Apple had been gradually increasing the CPU speed. So they had gone originally with a Motorola 68000, then they'd gone to 68020, then they gone to 68030, and they went to 68040. So each time Motorola brought out a faster chip, Apple were adopting that. And so 68040 running at 40 megahertz was the fastest 68040 they had produced. And Apple used it for this computer. And so it was the fastest 68040. But what you also have to remember is that very soon after this, Apple transitioned to RISC chips, the PowerPC chips that were made by IBM and also Motorola. But so while you can look at this and say, yes, this was definitely the fastest thing that came out at the time, it was superseded by PowerPC very soon afterwards. But having said that, the PowerPC transition was not a smooth one for Apple. They did a whole bunch of things wrong. They got much better. They did much better when they transitioned from PowerPC to Intel, and they did virtually seamlessly when they transitioned from Intel to Apple Silicon. So Apple has got very good at making those sorts of transitions. And they made all of the mistakes when they went from 68040 to PowerPC. Because when they very first released that hardware, there was hardly any native software available. And the emulation wasn't particularly, dazzling. You were running software under emulation. They weren't really running that much faster than your 68040s. So, it wasn't the best transition for them. Run PowerPC software on a PowerPC, way faster, way faster. And I can prove that. I am proving that in one of the videos that I'm working on. I've basically got Photoshop running on a 68040, doing a few tasks like Gaussian blur and unsharp mask. These days when you do that, it's done in the blink of an eye. But back in the day, you got to remember, we would often do those. We would have to go make a cup of tea while it was being done. So I ran these filters on a 68040. Then I ran them on a PowerPC, a very modest PowerPC. And the speed difference was phenomenal. In some things like Gaussian blur and that, we're literally getting speeds 10 times as fast. Now, if you imagine you're someone who's doing that on a day-to-day basis, that's saving you a lot of time in front of the computer. Okay, so... yeah, look, Tev Rudin, hello there. It's absolutely wild how well the x86 to Apple Silicon transition went. Agreed. It was quite amazing. It was quite extraordinary, actually. I've got it Apple Silicon. I'm running this live stream now from Apple Silicon, and I've got my main work computer as Apple Silicon, and it was quite extraordinary. It didn't hurt the fact that they were pretty bloody fast. Right, I'm just going to have a quick look at my guide. So what we'll do very quickly is we'll just jump up here, look at the screen. Where's my mouse? There it is. Let's just move that down there, and we'll get this there, and view there, like that. This is so stupid. I'm going to refresh this page. It's doing something weird. Weird. You're so weird. Here we go. Just have a look at the... have a look at the chooks while I'm doing this stuff. Hello, chickens. Then we go here and we go like that. And then we go like this. There we go. And now I should be able to. Let's have a look. Share screen. Why isn't it working? Why is it not working? Top screen. Display capture. Samsung. Display capture. That's what I want. It's not showing the whole thing. Let's go. There we go. That's more like it. Okay, so this is a Recap a Mac website. Anyone who hasn't seen it, this is a website I have been putting together over the years, just gradually adding images to it. Still plenty more I need to add, but I can only add ones that I get hold of. With only one or two exceptions, virtually every photo that's on here has been taken by me, and it's been when I've had that computer in my possession. And I don't get everything in my possession, so I don't have them all. But I do have, oops, it helps if you actually click the screen and not the capture of the screen. There we go. We'll go down here, we've got our old Quadra 840AV. Wickety whack. There it is. It's our lovely recapping guide. I can click on that to maximize that. So we've got 13. No wonder it's felt like so many. It felt like an eternity. I'm just going to hold this board here in the same angle so I can just check and see that I've got them all. Yes, yes. 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 No. Still got one there. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. 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 Okay, so there's one that I forgot, or missed, or didn't see, or ignored, or I don't know. Terrible. Now, while we're on this screen here, I do want to show you something very, very quickly, because this is a bit of fun. Let me just go back to the chooks for a second here. And just they move around a lot, don't they? And then I'll go here to... when I open a new page, it brings up the newspaper, the local newspaper. And I definitely don't want to broadcast that, because I don't want that to start discussions that I have zero interest in airing on my live stream. So, let's go here to share screen. Right, so this is a website that I have created. I'm just going to move it around here. It's designed to be viewed on a very small screen because it's designed to be viewed on very old hardware. So let's just grab that and we'll put it here. So this is, I mentioned before that I have set up a website that is hosted on a Macintosh LC3. And so this is actually hosted right this very minute on a Macintosh LC3. It's 25 megahertz 68030. I am going to overclock it, so it'll be something to look forward to. Has an FPU on it, has 20 megabytes of RAM, and a Blue SCSI, and a Farallon LC Ethernet card. And I've essentially replicated the Recap-A-Mac website using vintage HTML. The images are so small because it's an old computer, so it's not really super practical. If we go here to, say, the Macintosh Portable, there we go, it loads the page, loads the images. We've got these images here, but they're very low res. It is really not meant to be a recapping guide website. It is just meant to be a bit of fun, and it's meant to be somewhere that people can visit when they get an old computer on the internet. Because it's a big deal, you know, when you get an old computer, a vintage computer, whatever it might be, and you manage to get it connected up to the internet, and you're sort of like, okay, what am I going to do now? And nothing works. Now, of course, you can go to the old Frog Find, but okay, you find what you want, and you visit the page, and it's going to look awful because it's just extracting the text from it. And it's great. What Sean from Action Retro did with that is just brilliant. I'm not trying to cast any shade on that whatsoever. It's absolutely fantastic. But this is one that was properly designed for people to visit with a really old computer, which I intend to do. So anyhow, there's going to be more on that in one of my future videos, so look out for that. But another thing is a little secret down here. If you want to, on your vintage computer, you can click on the chickens link and you can get a snapshot live image of my chickens. So there you have it. But anyhow, that's enough of that. Let's get back here to Scope. There we go. ProtoWeb is another option for vintage web browsing. There is no better option, and I'll say this with a fair degree of confidence, there is no better option than actually viewing a website made with old HTML. Everything else is sort of a bit of a band-aid. I'm not, again, not casting any shade on any of that stuff. It's amazing what people are doing. But I've lost it again. The one that I lost before, here it is. There's our sneaky little cap that escaped my attention. Got to steal boxes. It's very important to steal phone boxes there. The value of phone boxes just going skyrocketing at the moment. I should mention when I was talking about the computers that got stolen from the company that I used to work for, our offices were in the CBD, right in the middle of the city. So, you know, you're going to get the best and the worst of humanity in that part of the world. And of course it was an office block at night. Don't look for the building, it's not there anymore. It's been knocked down for new stuff. I was quoting Marty DeBurgi there, if anyone knows who Marty DeBurgi is, where he was saying he saw a band at the Electric Banana, but don't look for it, it's not there anymore. Now, this, I don't know if you could see, but the edges are coming up off this one, rather nasty. So I might get a cap on this as soon as possible. I don't want to risk accidentally lifting that up. Jack68K, hello there. Spinal Tap, well done. Welcome to Macintosh. That is exactly correct. Right, so this one here, they're almost all 16 volt 47 microfarad, but I'm just going to get my recapping guide to be sure. I'm loving my new screen. I got a new screen here. Anyone who missed the story, I was just walking around the streets a few weeks ago, and someone had put a 40-inch Samsung LCD TV out for council collection, for garbage collection, and I knew it would have problems because why would you chuck away a TV set? But it was a Samsung, and I've worked with them before, so I often know what their problems are. So I grabbed the TV and brought it home. It was literally just up the road. I was able to just put it under my arm and walk home. I got it home, sure enough, what was wrong with it exactly was what I was expecting. I repaired it. Now I've got it down here as my second screen, and it is so much better than the last screen I had here. I love it. Love it. Beautiful big Samsung screen. So I've got this screen here, and then that screen there. Oh, someone's at the door. Ah, it's my wife. She's allowed to be at the door. Right, let's get some capacitors. Tantalums. Going to be replacing the electrolytics with tants for this. That one there is a 4716. They're all 4716s except for two 1016s. So from my perspective, I'll probably do the 10s first, just get those two out of the way, and then the rest are just all 4716s. I have a question to ask you, Nick. I saw a hot air station on the Ultrasonic website. Are you able to answer questions about it? Because someone asked me questions about it, and I'm like, well, I haven't tried it, so I can't really say much about it. But it looks okay. Okay, so let me just see if I can find the hot air station. You might be able to find it. It was 200 and something bucks. 269. Yeah, that's it. 320 watt hot air station, SMD rework station. Is there a product code here? T1285A. Do you have any experience with that hot air station? Just curious. Someone asked me about it. I probably should get one so that I can, speak to locals, because sometimes people don't necessarily want to order stuff from overseas. But there's another electronics company out here that I talk about a lot because I use it a lot because they're just up the road, called JCar, and they do have a hot air station. And look, if it's all you have, it's all you have. But there are better out there. How many do I want? Yeah, I mean, look, I am inclined to review one to, so that I can actually just say to my local viewers, if you're looking to get one in Australia, this is the way to go. So with hot air stations, they basically come down into two types. There are actually three types now, but I'll talk about that later on. But they basically come into two types. One type is where you have the fan and the heating element in the handle. So you've got a power supply, and the power supply just runs up to the handle, and the handle has a heating element in it, and they have a bulge. You can see a circular bulge at the back, and that's where they have a little fan, and the fan blows the air out the hot air station. Now the problem with those is the fan is so small in the handle that you don't get enough air output from them. They don't blow enough air. They don't move enough air. And so I generally recommend against those. Those ones, if you've got no other option, they're better than nothing. I will say that straight off the bat. But, it is much better to have ones that have the fan in the base station and then a hose leading up to the handle where the air goes through. The air goes through the hose. That's what I have here with mine. and they have much better air output, so they're the ones to go with. Now I just noticed that one at Ultrasonic actually doesn't have the fan in the handle, so that's a really good sign. It's a sign that it'd be, you know, one that I could potentially recommend. Okay, I appreciate that. If you ask the manager, I would like to know. Thank you. And one of the ways that I basically tell how good a hot air station is, I grab a logic board from a modern Mac laptop, modern-ish. You know, I'm talking, you know, sort of, well, the ones with the black logic boards that have no writing on them. So if you grab, I don't know, 2012 laptop from Mac, they all have the same style of logic board. I've actually got some here. They look like this. I should change the view. Let's try the middle view. Hey, they look like this. This sort of board. Now, these boards, they're all black, and they're actually incredibly good heat conductors. And it's deliberate. These are designed to work not just as a logic board, but as a heat sink as well. So they help dissipate heat of the components sitting on them. So they're good in that regard. But the downside is that when you're trying to get stuff off them and you hit them with a soldering iron or a hot air station, they just suck all the heat away. So this is what I use when I'm testing a hot air station. I'll use one of these to try and get like a chip like this off, or you know, chip like that off. Probably not that. That's the SMD there. But I just use them, see how long it take to get them off. And the really cheap hot air stations struggle with that. Yeah, I mean, that unit doesn't have the bulge in the handle for the fan, which suggests the fan is in the base station. So, right, okay, let's continue. Change over a bit of that view. So before I was blaming OBS for my little foot pedal not working. That was rude of me. It was very, very rude, because it wasn't OBS's fault. It was that I had not launched the software that controls the foot pedals. Oh, am I being rude? Yes, you are being rude. Very, very rude. That's from an Australian movie. I doubt anyone here will know it. Air pump to be a diaphragm pump, so it must be in the unit. Cool. Cool, cool. That's a good sign. That is a good sign. Now, I'm not worried about you might see here, there's solder all over the place. I've got exposed exposed, copper here. I've got exposed copper here. I'm not going to short anything because this is basically connected to that, and this is connected to that. So it doesn't matter if I'm creating bridges along those sides there. As long as they don't touch from either side, they're fine. Sure, I'm happy to review one. If you guys are happy to cough one up, I'm definitely happy to review one. Those are the things that are relevant to the channel. I mean, when it comes to reviews that I do, I'm interested in doing things that are relevant to my channel. For example, this chicken enclosure that I bought for my chickens is actually made by Vevor. I probably could have contacted them and said, look, can you give me this for free and I'll do a review? But I cannot honestly say that I will get that many people. Oh, the chook cam's going. Oh, no, it's not. I can't honestly say that I'll get that many people on my channel that are going to be looking for that sort of content. So I feel that's a bit unfair for them. They're not necessarily going to get the number of views. If I'm doing a soldering iron, a soldering station, or a hot air station, whatever, that makes sense. Right, so let's put the 10 microfarad 16s on now. Okay, thank you. I will look out for the email. I will warn you, though, that I may not be able to answer quickly. My life is a little bit tumultuous at the moment. just with the situation going on with my mother being in hospital. But I will look out for it, and I will try and I will answer as soon as I can. But certain things have been getting left undone lately. Jonathan Adar, hello there. Or is it Adar? Adar? I always forget how to pronounce people's names. I hope that cap is just caked in dust. Which one? Which cap? What are we looking at? This one? That's actually an L. What do you call it? Inductor. That one. That's why he's black. And on the left there is a diode. I hate these diodes. If anyone's actually worked with them before, I mean, they're a cylinder. So when you put them on and you hit them with hot air or something like that, the solder melts. They roll off the board. Stupid. I would much prefer a diode to be rectangular. Matt Crafter, hello there. Acetane 20, hello there. And Phil, hello, thank you. And thank you for your kind wishes. I appreciate that. It is the hospital that my mother is in at the moment is currently being upgraded. And as a result of that upgrade, it's a big upgrade they're doing. It's going to be quite a thing when it's finished. But as a result of that upgrade they're doing, they've had to shut parts of the hospital down, so they are desperately short of beds at the moment. And I sympathise with the staff there because they are doing the best they can. But it is clearly trying times for them at the moment. And of course, there's construction going on all the time out the back. But it is going to be quite an amazing hospital when it's finished. Zio does look corroded. Pretty much everything on this looks corroded. So, Stiana's here. Hello there. Thank you very much again for your kind wishes to you. Thank you from you. Thank you. I'm not sure. I think I kind of like this. These tweezers with the bent end. Makes me feel like it's a special purpose-designed piece of equipment. And they're easy enough to bend back again. I just haven't done it. Looks like the beak of a bird, like an ibis. What's your mother in hospital for? She broke her knee. She had a spill and she broke her knee, and very, very badly. Knees are bad at the best of times, but this is particularly bad. So, yeah, not pleasant. Here we are. Right, so I did say, was it 13? I've already put one down, so I need 12 of these suckers. I'm not going to count 12 out. I'm just going to grab a handful here, or as many as I can hold in my fat fingers. Hey, Bruce, why are your fingers so fat? I generally mention this in my live streams just in case someone happens to be watching this who's a noob. I have removed, well, I didn't remove them, someone else did, but I've removed electrolytic capacitors and I'm replacing them with tantalum. And one of the big differences between tantalum and electrolytic caps is the stripe. So you can see a stripe here. The stripe is on the positive side for the tantalum, is on the negative side of the electrolytic. So you just have to make sure you get these around the right way. One of the very first recapping jobs I did a very, very long time ago, think it was a LC3, maybe an LC2. I did manage to put them all on backwards. I knew I had already done successful recapping at that stage, maybe one or two, but I was still learning, and I don't know, I got overconfident or something like that, and yeah, put every single capacitor on around the wrong way. So just to clarify with what has happened to my mother's knees, she had both knees replaced some years ago, and that's where they basically cut the bone and they stick a prosthetic on top. And what she did to it when she fell was she broke the prosthetic away from the bone, so the new part of the knee broke away from the old part of the leg. So that's had to be reattached. It's actually it's a bigger deal than just getting your knees replaced. You can actually get onto a knee replacement quite quickly in terms of weight bearing, but there's no weight bearing. So yeah, so not nice at all. And of course, the frustrating thing about this, we've all done this. Anyone who's ever done themselves an injury that happened very, very quickly, but the results last a really long time, you spend a lot of time angry at yourself that, that this moment of something bad happening has resulted in very long-term recovery. And so I really sympathise, because that's the sort of stuff where it just burns away at your head. So I've just changed the tip on this. I'm changed this over to this little bent conical tip like that. I'm going to use that to get in here next to this inductor, so I can solder in there. As you can see, it's perfectly suited for this. You can just get in there, nice little tight space, and solder that there. I don't like using this for everything, but it's fantastic when needed for getting into a tight spot. Lazy Bite Boy, you've written oof, and you know what it looks like you've written there? It looks like you've written a hexadecimal color code. 000FFF. Ah, dear. People sending me messages in hexadecimal now. Yeah, I mean, she's got worked on by a very good surgeon, very reputable surgeon, so I think she will probably recover well. Age is not on her side. She's fairly old, and of course, as people get older, bones get more brittle and take longer to heal. But having said that, my mother is quite a healthy human being. She exercises regularly. I mean, not lately, not in the last week, but she exercises regularly, and it's very, very independent. So I am hopeful that the recovery will go well, and she will have to be a lot more careful in the future. Whoops, something just fell down. So we're at the stage now where we're putting new capacitors on in place of the old ones. I have discovered at the beginning of this, for anyone who has joined recently, we do actually have some corrosion that is so bad that there are some pins that have come away from their pads on the ICs. So I am not going to get a chance to do that today because, well, first of all, I want to clean this board before I start repairing those, because there's so much corrosion on there. I need to see the state of it once the corrosion is gone. And, oh, fish and chips are here. I might as well be eating carbo because I can't taste the damn thing. You know what? I sympathise with you, Dana. It was exactly the same after I had my flu. When I got hit with the flu this year, a few months ago, and it just knocked me flat. I was sicker than I've ever been. I lost my ability to taste things properly for weeks. I know that's not comforting for you, but just nothing tasted right. Everything was just yuck. The only thing that I did like the taste of, I think it was like ice cream. I think ice cream tasted all right. Some sweet things weren't too bad, but most things I ate, particularly savoury things, were just awful. So I'm sorry that that's the case, Dana. I'm sorry you're not getting the pleasure that you would normally get from your piece of halibut. farewell, welcome to Macintosh. Thank you for joining. I will not be going for too much longer, just in case anyone is wondering. I mean, no one has asked, so I probably shouldn't even bother answering. But I am going to finish putting the caps on, and then I'll probably sign off. Because as I said, I can't do any more work to this. I can't test it. And there are two reasons why I can't test it. First of all, the power supply I have for this is in storage, which I have to go get. The other reason is that this board definitely needs more work before we start sending it some electricity. Some electricity. No electricity for this one. I was hoping you would be going for a bit longer. I've missed these. Yeah, look, I would love to be going for a bit longer. So look, when I say a bit, I've still got like 9 caps to go, and knowing me, that'll probably still take me a little while to do. But the circumstances I have at the moment with the stuff that's happened with my mother have meant that I just haven't been getting stuff done. So I've sort of left with a whole bunch of things I need to try and get done this weekend. So it is regrettable, but it is necessary. Now, I just want to point out something here really quickly, just again for people who are interested in this for the what would you call it, the actual practical aspect. You can see we've got a trace running down the middle here, and the copper is exposed. It's got no mask on it. So I have to be very, very careful when I put this capacitor on, because the pad of these tantalums is quite wide. And so if I were to sit this right here, I would end up creating a short. So I'm actually going to position this a little bit back a bit, like there, so that I'm not going to... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stick some friggin' mask on it. Do the job properly, Rain. Do it properly. So I'm going to mask this little bit of exposed copper, and that will just mean it's a lot safer for me. Come on, tissue. A lot safer for me to put this cap on. Do a proper job, Rain. When I had a very nasty motorcycle accident, I broke my acetabulum. For anyone who's not familiar with that, it's the hip socket. So I fractured my acetabulum, and I broke my hand. And I can tell you that when you have an injury like that, which is meaning you're having to do so much with your hands because your leg's out of action, having a cast is a real pain. I had my hand in a splint, sort of like that, and I ended up just taking it off because I was, it was bearable pain, and I just needed my hands because I was in a bed that had a frame around the outside, so I could lift myself up from the frame, because I was in traction for some of it, and so that when you're in traction, they have this frame around the bed. It was very, very handy actually, because you use the frame to move around. I've lost the lid. Oh no, there it is. I left it there. So this is UV mask, so it's like solder mask, and it's UV curable, and so I'm about to hit it with some UV light. That was one of the things I actually did the other day. I repaired my UV light here, which wasn't working. Now, I'm not going to use that for this, because I use that when I'm curing large amounts of UV mask. This time I'm only curing little bits. And so for this, I'm just going to use a UV laser. Pew, pew. This is it here. Shining away. Shine away. Do the job properly. Yeah. You know, I look at these things sometimes and I sort of think to myself, you know, am I going to make this harder for myself in the future because I'm not putting some mask on this? As you can see, the mask there's a little mound there, so this will not be able to sit flush on the board anymore. But that's okay, we'll just fill the gaps with a bit of solder. This stuff cures pretty quickly with a laser beam like this. Oh, hang on. I think I've got the amps restricted, so the current restricted. So let me just... No, I don't. No restriction on the current. Yeah, all good. It's fine. I'm fine now. Right, so that is now cured. Should I do the next one as well? I see a little bit of copper exposed there. I really should. Get another tissue. A little bit of... for the sake of this, you know, for the few minutes that it takes to get a bit of UV mask on there, it's just a little bit of peace of mind. Okay. So yeah, these little UV lasers that I got, they're like a laser pointer. They're basically just like a laser pointer that you would buy for pointing at things, you know, like the red laser pointer type thing. But they emit a specific wavelength of UV light. It is a very specific wavelength of UV light. I can't remember exactly what it is. But, for example, this particular UV light doesn't do things like erase EEPROMs. I don't know if anyone has done any work with EEPROMs before, but EEPROMs, they have a little window in them, and you can stick them under UV light and erase them, so if you want to erase them and write something else onto them. So this sort of laser beam will not erase an EEPROM, and same as an EEPROM eraser will not dry this UV mask. So obviously UV just has a lot of different wavelengths, but this one here, I mean, I think it does say on it what wavelength it is, but yeah, it is basically just like a laser pointer. Does UV, and it's powerful enough to burn, but only burn a very, very small thing. If I actually try and focus this beam to a point, you will actually see some smoke. But I won't do it on this board. Do you have any animals beside chickens? Yes, I have 2 cats. 2.5 cats. How do you have half a cat? I know what you're saying. How can you have half a cat? We've been feeding a stray cat lately, so it's not allowed in the house, but we've been feeding it. It's a very, very friendly little thing, so that's our half a cat. But yes, I have 2 cats and 4 chickens. I like both cats and dogs, but cats suit my lifestyle better. Yeah, so I'm just, you know, obviously following up on what I was saying before about the motorbike accident I was in. I spent 2 months in hospital from that one, which was not the most enjoyable time in my life, I can tell you that for sure. I do not ride motorbikes anymore. I did ride them for a little while after the accident. But to be honest, a lot of the, I guess, the joy was taken away from me. And I also got sick and tired of having to wear wet weather gear in the rain and being stinking hot in the summer. You know, if it's like 40 degrees outside, whatever that is, I don't know, 100 or something, and you're, you know, riding a motorbike with a leather jacket on, and it's like, it just gets so uncomfortable. So I sort of, I don't know, I guess that's probably a bit of age as I got older. The thrill of riding was, I guess my need for comfort was greater than my drive to ride. Do. Ouchie. Yeah, well, I used to ride in a leather jacket. I wasn't exactly flush with money, so I didn't have an opportunity to buy anything too fancy. But I would never ride a motorbike without adequate protection on, you know, because, you know, you can, if you hit the deck, you lose a lot of skin. And wearing a leather jacket, which I was wearing when I had my motorbike accident, and I can tell you from looking at the state of the leather jacket after the accident that it did save a lot of my skin. Didn't do much for the bones, but there's only so much you can expect from leather, let's face it. I used to wear wet weather gear, and this one time, so wet weather gear is basically just like a full body raincoat type thing. You know, you step into it. It's like overalls sort of thing, and it's got elastic around the wrists and stuff like that, and elastic around the ankles. And I remember riding it to work one day. It was just torrential. The rain was pouring down, and I was sitting on the bike like this, you know, and the rain just pouring down onto my body, and it's sort of dripping down like that, and it all just poured in through one of the gaps in the buttons that snapped it closed, just around crotch area. So I stepped out of my wet weather gear. I'm completely bone dry except for this wet patch on my crotch, and that's not one of the places you want a wet patch. Old House of Moth here. Hello there, Jay. Welcome. I was told you weren't going to be here. Oh, that's cool. That's good to hear, Stian. I didn't know they made those, but it's something like that I'm sure was not available at the time I was riding. But this happened in 1992, so that's a long time ago. I don't like the look of these capacitors because they're a bit higgledy-piggledy because I've had to put solder mask underneath them. But I'm just going to have to live with that because I've had to put solder mask underneath them. Probably should do the same for this one here. Bloody 840 AVs. No wonder they make Steve so angry. I'm sure there are people here that will have seen that video, that amazing moment when Steve had been working on his 840 AV and it chimed and he called out as if to some higher power, it chimed. After, I don't know, probably 30 hours of live streaming, not all in one go, but I'm sure there were even a few tiers. Higgledy-piggledy. So it's got a G in it. Oops. Higgledy-piggledy. I don't know if it's just an Australian or a British term, but it's very common here. Higgledy-piggledy, meaning they're like not aligned. Can you put the cap on before curing the mask underneath it? You can, but the light needs to hit the mask to cure it. So if the cap's on it, I'm going to have a lot of trouble trying to actually get any UV light onto it. You can see at the moment it's shiny, and then let's get there. It's shiny at the moment. Oh, by the way, Jay, this is my new Microscope camera. So, you know, you were wanting to see it. You were telling me to live stream with it, so I'm live streaming with it, so now you can see it. So it starts off fairly shiny, and then it gets a little bit more dull as it cures. Wonky is also a good word. Wonky is a term that I would use if one thing was on wrong, you know. So if I was sort of saying, like, I don't know, if someone had attached something and it wasn't straight, I would say, oh, that's wonky. But if I had a whole series of things that were out of alignment, I would then be more likely to say higgledy-piggledy. Oh yeah, look, I could flatten it out. I could actually like scrape it back a little bit, because I don't need the full height of this here. I could get here with once it's dried, it's cured, I could actually sit here with a scalpel and scrape some of it off. Like that sort of thing. But I'm not, it's not going to make this look horrendous or anything like that. It's not going to make it stand out. It will be noticeable to me, but I don't think it'll be noticeable to anyone else. Yeah, that's the thing I always say when my wife tells me that I've parked the car crooked. I say, I'm perfectly straight. It's the world that's crooked. Cattywampus. Cattywampus. Never heard that one before. Whopper-jawed. I like that one too. Which camera did you get? Okay, so Jack 68K. So this is something that I mentioned at the beginning of the live stream, and I'll just go over it again because I know there are a lot of people who have joined since then. My old camera was giving me some grief. Ultimately, it was still working as a camera, but it wasn't retaining settings. And as a result, I was getting very weird white balance happening. And that was just getting a bit frustrating. So what I did was I bought a Logitech webcam, specifically a 920. I did originally buy a 922, but I won't go into the details, but there were conflict problems with the fact that I have another C922 on this computer. So I got a Logitech C90 webcam, which is a 1080p webcam, and I modified it to work with the Microscope. So I 3D printed a case. I had to relocate some of the wiring, so the wiring originally connected on the front of the PCB. I had to relocate the wiring to the back of the PCB, and have to remove the lens, which I think is still floating around here somewhere unless I threw it away. You have to remove the lens and the which also has the focus built into it, because you don't need focus for this because you focus it with the microscope. Yeah, so this is now, I'm touching it, which is stupid, but this is now a C920 webcam that I've got connected into the little adapter for the microscope, and that's what we're viewing. And one of the advantages of using this is I can now use this tool here, which allows me to do things like alter the white balance, just like the art. And there we go, that's about where we are. And I can adjust brightness and contrast and stuff like that. So, yeah. Nice. Don't you reckon? We do get a little bit of chromatic aberration in the corners. So when you see something white on the edges, you can actually see it. If I point to the white here, there, see that light, that specular highlight there, that reflection, that there is white. But if we go across to the side here on the edge, you'll see that it has a blue fringe on the left and a yellow fringe on the right. And that's because there's an alignment issue there. It's not perfectly aligned, but it's about as aligned as I can get it. So, how did you know the specs for this camera would work for this application? I experimented. I did not know. I had a spare C922 and I did the mod as an experiment, and it worked, and I was happy with it. And I was going to use it, but then because I had this conflict, I needed to get a camera that had a different name. It couldn't be called the same name, so I got a C920. Right, I've got to keep moving here because I am running out of time, and we do have capacitors that need to be given a home. Oh, damn, this one here is really cattywampus. Grab a few more caps. Oh man, my knee's giving me a little bit of grief. Bit of grief on the knee. The cameras that are made for these scopes are such junk. Yeah, I mean, I think you can get good ones, but I realized after I made this, I probably should have done a video on the mods that I did. But I thought to myself, no, there's probably only like 8 people in the world that would be interested in watching it. So maybe I won't bother. Higgledy-piggledy. They are indeed higgledy-piggledy. Feels good to be doing this. I'm a big ball of stress at the moment because of all the stuff that's going on, and part of me is just kind of like, I want to finish this so that I can start doing some other things because, you know, I'm a bit freaked out at the moment about all the things that need doing. But I am very happy to be back here doing this, guys. I haven't done this in a while. And for those who are new, who haven't visited the channel or are late to today's live stream, I should say, I've now got the chooks in an enclosure. There they are. And we've now got a webcam that's positioned in a way where I can see every chicken unless they're in the nesting box. So for some reason, actually I think I know what the reason is, but there's a bit of a lag at the moment on the image. There's one chicken there, and then we got 2 chickens there, which means the third one must be in the nesting box. And I can even go in and have a little bit of a zoomity zoom. Hello, chickens. Oh, there it is. The other one's having a dust bath. I can see him in the top there. It's having a little bit of a dust bath in the coop there. They love dousing the wings in dirt, particularly in the sun. It's one of the ways they get rid of pests. I can't find my mouse. There it is. I will not be watching quilting on YouTube. Thank you for the offer, but I'm not sure that will be for me. Yeah, one of the chickens in particular is a big unit. I've got two quite big chickens. One's a big Sussex, and the other one is an Australorp, and they're pretty sizable. The other two are more normal chicken size, but I got to tell you, I get some pretty amazing sized eggs from those big chickens. They're huge. This is an old pad. Sorry, an old pin. Any lorikeets nearby? Not now. I mean, you can normally hear them when they're here because lorikeets are really noisy. So we get a lot of lorikeets in the area, so there will be some somewhere, but they're not here. This time of year, they're generally hanging around a lot of the Australian natives in flower. So yeah, you wouldn't have to go far to find one, but I don't think there are any in the yard. I can't hear much at the moment with the fume extractor going. Right. Oopsie. Let's keep putting caps on. So I tend to use hot air for removing capacitors. That's my preferred method. Other people will, other people have their own methods, but for me, I definitely like to use hot air. And the temperature that you use is going to vary a lot based on the hot air station that you have. Oh, those type of heat guns, yeah. Like you're gonna have trouble. I mean, you can use. I've heard of someone who does use them, but you need something to channel that heat into a small area. If the heat ends up all over the board, you're going to have nothing but strife, and you're going to end up with a lot of melted plastic. So I have heard of people that use those sorts of heat guns, but you need something that can direct that heat into a fine point. But I would highly recommend getting a hot air station. David Starbuck, if you actually just jump onto Google and just do a search for lorikeet, you'll see what it is. It's a very small, colourful parrot. So the main parrots that we have, certainly in this area where I am in Sydney, the main parrots that we get here are sulphur-crested cockatoos, which you've probably seen because they are often in movies and people own them as pets and stuff like that. So sulphur-crested cockatoo, what are they called? another one. There's the galah. There's the rainbow lorikeet. And what is it? There's ones that look like they haven't had enough sleep. The words just left my head, but another type of parrot. So they're the main parrots that we get here. They are a very, very pretty bird, and they make a lot of noise, and they hang around in groups, and they sort of chatter to each other while they're together. So if you're if you're just walking past a tree, you'll just hear the birds just like constantly making a little chattering noise, a little quiet little chattering noise. It's almost just like it's like they're saying, "I'm here, yeah, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here." It's very, very sweet, but they're a beautiful, beautiful bird. But they're definitely one of the smaller parrots that we have here, because we've got some things like the sulphur-crested cockatoo. They're big. They're a big unit. Not as big as an ibis. We get a lot of ibis around here as well. Australian white ibis. And we do actually get a few kookaburras in this area nowadays. We didn't used to, but I think their habitat is just reducing, so they're being forced into... Where's my tweezers? Into suburban areas. Oh God, my knee is killing me. I really am going to have to stop soon, because my knee is just killing me. And this should have been finished by now. I'm clearly out of practice. I used to be able to do the fastest recapping in the world. I have no evidence of that, but I'm going to say it anyway. That was just my solder holder falling off the table. Do. I was lucky that just fell into alignment. Lucky. Corellas, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Lots and lots of corellas here. They're probably the most common parrot in the area, I would say, just in this area. And we get lots of them. They're not as big as a sulphur-crested, but they are. They're still a fairly sizable parrot. Just couldn't think of the frickin' word. It's because I haven't had enough sleep lately, that's why. Rainbow bear. She's had a nice meal last night. Yum. Chinese food. Tasty, tasty. I'm thinking a lot about food at the moment because I haven't eaten today. I haven't put flux on this either. Idiot. It was a succulent Chinese meal. It was a very succulent Chinese meal. You know your judo well. What's the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Get your hands off my penis. If you have no idea what I'm talking about there, you really owe it to yourself to find out. What was that? What was that? What was that? We're a little bit tight in here. Can I? Oh yeah, I think I got it. I got it. Yeah, she's on. We're good. Yeah, I don't know if Australian Chinese food tastes like American Chinese. I know that Australian Chinese food doesn't taste like Chinese food, because they've definitely adapted it for the Australian palate. There's quite a lot more meat in a lot of the food that we eat. But I see quite a lot of Chinese people eating in this Chinese restaurant that we go to, so I guess that makes them fairly happy. And yeah, super tasty, super tasty. This place that we go to, their food is, I think, in my opinion, some of the best around, and they're very, very well priced. And so that's one of the reasons why it's one of our favourite spots to go. We have to travel a bit for it. It's a good half an hour drive to get there, but it's near where my mother lives, so we can catch up with her at the same time. Hello there, Dan. How do I even know what needs replacing? Well, in the instance of this is a board that had surface mount electrolytic caps on them. And they're gone now, they've been removed. But when they're on the board, you can really clearly see that they need replacing, because they leak and they get crusty and they get corrosion around them. And so they have to go. They have to be liberated from the board. But that step's already been done. Now it's me putting new things on. There are other problems with this that I've observed. For anyone who's late to the party, right here, you can see some fairly heavy corrosion on this chip, and the corrosion has got so bad that, you zoom in, you'll see that the little footsies here aren't actually stuck down anymore. So what I endeavour to do is to clean this in the ultrasonic cleaner first, and then we'll look at soldering these pins back down again. But I don't want to try and solder them down now because there's corrosion underneath them. Worst case scenario, I'll have to take that chip off, and I will have to clean up all the pads underneath it and then solder it back down again. I don't want to do that because of the really fine pins on this, but that is probably what I'll end up having to do. Now I just need to do a quick cap count here because I may have finished, but I may not have. So let's just go along here, move my mouse up to my recapping guide. I'll let you guys see what I'm looking at. So that's my recapping guide there. I'm going to hold the board up in the same way. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's the lot. And then I've got 2 up the top, but I did those first, so they're all fine. So I've actually done them all. There's a total of 15 capacitors that have been replaced on this board. And so, happy, happy, joy, joy. Let's just see if my foot pedal's still working. That's great. So some of the challenges that we came across while we were doing this, and when I had to clean up a lot of these pads, some of the UV mask got exposed, that I had to then put some new UV mask on to then put the caps on so that I don't accidentally create a short circuit by bridging those little bits of exposed copper. So from that perspective, that part is done. The recapping is done. But we know that this still has some problems in that we've seen, well, first of all, I've seen a via up here. A via is one of the little tubes that connects different layers of the board. It doesn't look too crash hot. And so I'm going to probably need to test that with a multimeter. And then, of course, we've got to sort the corrosion out here. And when this gets put in the ultrasonic cleaner, things could get worse. Sometimes things are held on with corrosion. And so when you pop it in the ultrasonic cleaner, it gets rid of the corrosion. things fall off. I really don't want that to happen. So yeah, but it's got to be done. I have had instances before where I've had a board that has worked, and then I've put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, and it has cleaned away little bits of corrosion and rust, and then when the board came out it didn't work anymore because those little bits of corrosion and rust were just conductive enough to actually make a connection, and once they got cleaned away the connection was gone, so I had to then go in and fix them up, re-establish the connection, put some new solder down, put some new wires down, that sort of thing. But it still has to be done. I can't go in and have a board that you give back to someone and say, hey, it works now, but some of these components are being held on with corrosion, and it's probably going to stop working. You know, you've got to get to the crux of these problems. You've got to make sure that they're sorted out. So yeah, this is going to be cleaned. Then I'll need to observe it very closely, see what I can do without having to remove components, but then some components may need to be removed, look underneath them. I don't have the luxury of time to then go in and make this a full diagnostics process if this doesn't work. I'm hoping that the stuff that I see on this board that doesn't work will work once I, address what I see. There's always that danger of hidden stuff. I don't really have, as I say, the luxury of time to go too heavily down the path of discovering that stuff. But I have already made it very clear to Duncan, whose board this is, that there's a limit to what I can do. I will do my best, but if I recap this and I clean up all the corrosion and make it all look pretty and fix everything that I can see and it still doesn't work, there's probably not that much more that I can do, because otherwise it will just end up getting added to my pile, my trouble pile, and it'll probably end up staying there for 5 years. Foxhound477, hello. I'm doing well, thank you. I'm not too bad. I have had the complication of my mother breaking her leg and being in hospital, or breaking her knee, and so that has made my life a little bit complicated, and one of the reasons why I haven't done a live stream in a little while. And also one of the reasons why I'm going to have to wrap this up now. I've gone for a lot longer than I expected, but I did want to get this finished before finishing, and I talk so much, things get done slowly. So, the usual stuff here. If you wouldn't mind, please gently touching the like button. If I find my cursor here. If you are new to the channel and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. There's some really, really cool stuff there. Well, I think it's cool anyway. Oh, there's some crap as well, but that's all right. Okay. Oh, this was assembled in Ireland, by the way. Look, there's a little sticker down the bottom here. You can't see it, but it says assembled in Ireland. How about that? Assembled in Ireland. You can actually tell the Irish ones are black like this. There are green ones, and I don't think they were made in Ireland. I think they were made somewhere else. But these ones with this black mask on it, they're the Irish ones. Okay. Okay, just going to check the chat here, make sure. Oh, don't say Cuban food, I'm so hungry. Yum, 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 yum. I want a cubano, please. Yep, looking. I've got a huge Asian population in this area, all parts of Asia. We've got Chinese, Vietnamese, Korean. We've got Indian. So quite a broad range of food. Okay, so anyhow, here we go. Progress has been made. I'm happy with this so far. I have positive feelings about this board. Okay, that's about the best I can do. But I do have positive feelings about this. One advantage I have is I do have a working Quadra 840AV of my own. So of course you can often do testing and checking and stuff between the two. But anyhow, that's where we are with this. A big thank you to everyone who has joined today, especially at the end here. The numbers really jumped up here about an hour ago, and so thank you to everyone who did tune in. And please, I'm going to do the smash thing because I haven't done it in a while.
Smash that like button.
There we go. Thank you. I'm just going to jump across to the me picture. Hello, me. So, yeah, thank you to everyone for joining. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for keeping the chat super lively, keeping me entertained while I did this work. As I say, I will clean this, and I might do the next part on a live stream as well. We'll just see how we go. I'll go and get the power supply so I can do a test and everything. So, thanks again. Hope to see you at the next one. Hope you all have a good day, night, whatever it happens to be. And bye-bye.